it?
I don't know. I wanted people to think we were frozen
before people leave. I think people would like us to be frozen. Some of them.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I have a feeling that's what most people are hoping for. That's what keeps them coming back more often.
Are they
than
dead
not.
yet?
Exactly.
Oh, they're here.
Or they're just because we had such a long string of technical difficulties when we first got the podcast off the ground. People are now coming to expect that, and now the last year and a half we've really disappointed them. Except for we did have a couple of issues.
We've had and you and I have had some availability troubles too. It's just
availability, travel, which today I think is going to be the travel episode. You and I have been traveling so much lately.
Yeah,
the country is opening up, folks. Actually, the world is opening up. Yeah. Our favorite, and I can't say that for you, but I know you watch them, Kara and Nate. They actually got to fly to Italy and have been
and I haven't watched the latest video. I saw it entitled Italy with no other tourists or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one either.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. I just like them. They're likable. I don't know what it is. They're just very likable,
and they're fun, and they're naive in a lot of ways.
That's interesting. What makes you say that?
I just think that they're young. First of all, they have a lot of experience. So I'm not saying that they're dumb by any means. They're very intelligent, very smart people.
They do some really smart things in terms of influencers. They're really
smart. I'd venture to say from a YouTuber standpoint, they're probably close to genius. I mean, they do a very good job. They're very savvy business people.
They get a lot of stuff for free, and
they do.
Were the first ones to. I mean, they always tell you when we stayed in a $10,000 a night hotel room, and they're not like, oh, look at us and you suck. They're
right.
Like, this is
come
awesome.
Join us.
And
it's they're like kids in a candy store. And that's exactly what I mean. With everything that they do, they're kids in a candy store. So they come off as naive in a sense. Maybe naive is too strong a word.
Maybe innocent would be
innocent. That's probably a better. Yeah.
I like it. Anyway, but you originally mentioned them to me, I think, and I've become a big fan, to say nothing of the fact that you and I are in our heads at least RV enthusiasts.
Yes.
And they sort of are too in a weird way.
In a weird way. They were
forced
forced to do it, but
they're
do
not as neat as you and I would be. I watch them going, oh, I would never deal with that.
Right.
But they do some fun stuff, and great people, and you feel like you know them, and they have how many million followers?
Oh, I don't even know.
2.4 million or something like that.
Yeah, it's constantly going up. They're very, very popular. And the best part is I watch another couple, and I think you may as well. Eamon and Beck. They're a couple of Canadians.
Okay.
They did van life. So they started in 2017 and they built a van, and they've been taking it all over the world. Then when the pandemic hit, they actually were in Morocco.
Oh,
so
wow.
their van, they had to leave. So they had to leave their van in Morocco. So the van is actually still sitting in a parking lot in Morocco. And they have friends that are over there that are keeping an eye on it, and they'll send videos once in a while, and they put them in their vlog. Eamon and Beck also own a chai tea company in Toronto, and it's Chai Walla, I think is what it's called. And they're entrepreneurs as well, and that's how they can afford to do this. But when they came back to Canada, they decided to build out another van. So they bought a second van, built it out, and then they bought a cabin. And so the last year of videos has been them trying to rehab this cabin. And now the last couple of episodes, they've been back out doing van life, but it's only like weekend trips from their cabin, which it's a lot of fun. Jen doesn't like them as much, but because they are a little bit hippie annoying, if that's a way to describe their being. But they're cute, and I enjoy them, and they're fun. And the funny thing is, everyone that's a YouTuber that has reached a moniker of fame with their YouTube channels all know each other. So, for example, there was I think 3 episodes ago, Eamon was trying to fix the sink in their van to take it out for the first time after sitting for a year, and they had the same sink faucet as Kara and Nate. who had broken theirs twice. It had frozen and cracked twice. And Eamon's trying to pull this out, and he's like, how did Kara and Nate do this? I think they have the same one. And you're just like, this is random. You just mentioned Kara and Nate. It's so funny. It's really funny. And I know everyone is kind of connected and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. I was watching another gentleman today, has nothing to do with RVing. He is the guy who bought the Wrangler 4xe, and he's just kind of putting it through his paces. Well, this episode that I watched, he actually took it to a drag strip and was drag racing people. And the Jeep was pretty impressive. I mean, he beat a couple of people and got off the start against a few like Chargers and stuff and was ahead of them. They obviously beat him after the stretch, but it was really interesting. But every time he would talk to somebody outside of the Jeep who he was trying to challenge, they're all like, oh, you got to check out my YouTube channel. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. It's all about cars and racing, and it's hilarious. It's kind of like, two guys that have been doing a podcast for 3 years just because they have conversations and people said, hey, you should have a podcast.
That's weird.
I know. I don't know why people do that.
I don't know who they are, but they're weird.
They are weird.
And speaking of weird and fun, are a couple that I have come to follow in who are RV people. They only have like 11,000 followers, 12,000 maybe now. But it's fun to watch them because they're entertaining, and they're an older couple, probably older, probably 70-ish.
Oh wow.
And but they're full timers, and they've got a kick-ass rig. They have a Volvo heavy duty truck, a tractor that we've talked about. With 600,000 miles on it, but it's like brand new. The guy can fix anything. And so he does all sorts of maintenance and repairs. And then they've got a DRV fifth wheel, one of the top of the line fifth wheels there is. They have two spiders, which are the trikes, motorcycle trikes, and they have them they're stacked. They have a lift on the back of the truck. And so they have them stacked. And then in the back, they carry a smart car on a little two-wheel dolly.
Wow.
That's behind this 75-foot rig. It's just, and they're funny and so on. But anyway, it's the people you kind of get used to and listen to. It's just kind of a fun, it's like, them. And heck, if I ever see them at an RV park, I'll probably just stop it. Hey guys, how are you? Come on over and have a beer, that sort of
thing. Well, and that's, you see that all the time in a lot of these videos. People recognize the YouTubers.
Watts on Wheels, by the way. I'm sorry. WATTS, Watts on Wheels. If
Watts
you're looking for a couple of entertaining 70-year-olds. And who isn't?
Right, exactly. Exactly. Well, it's interesting, not to take this a serious route, but with everything with YouTube and YouTubers becoming famous and just podcasts, things like that, it's really interesting to me how there are a number of big name stars now. Or let me phrase it this way. I was listening to a podcast and they mentioned this, that a lot of stars now today have to act differently. And we all know they have to act differently because of social media. And that's what has ruined the careers of quite a few. But with every star now creating their own podcast and creating their own YouTube channels and things like that, or even their own programming, like Selena Gomez doing her cooking show, they're inviting people into their homes a lot more often than they used to, and getting rid of that layer of privacy that whether they always complain that they never had, but now they really don't have it because they're literally inviting people into their homes. But they have to act differently because now they have to show their human side of things, or at least we get to see their human side of things. And most of them, they might start out trying to be very guarded, but become very open about their trials and tribulations throughout life. And what's making those podcasts so popular is the fact that they talk about all of those things in a live sense, where it's almost coming to them going, oh, they're realizing everything on the podcast or in the video.
It's like a humanizing piece.
Yes.
Don't you think so? And it's very much a result of COVID. I think a lot of these people had no other way to connect with the public because, what are we doing all that? We're sitting at home and we're watching podcasts or listening to podcasts or watching them if they're really technologically advanced like we are.
Right.
On
YouTube,
I agree with you.
youtube.com/PoddiMouths.
Yes, that's where we would find it.
Yeah.
Nice job with
Thanks.
That's how you froze me on one of the on the last.
I know
or a couple times ago, and I'm like this.
Yeah, I did that.
They're
on purpose.
going, oh, look at Nick smiling.
I go frame by frame looking for some weird look.
In thought, I know. I'm sure. I hope you have a hard time finding.
I'll probably get you doing that too.
That maybe, or maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe I could do. Remember the upside down eye thing? I could never do that with glasses.
I couldn't. No, well, I can't do it. My wrists aren't that flexible.
Well, there are some.
I opened you up. I opened that wide open for you to just go miles with it.
You could do some exercises, and that will help.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, cheers. So let's talk, and I promise I will join you at some point.
I don't care. Folks, it's Sunday, and we normally don't do these on Sunday because Sunday is a rest day and it's a church day.
I can do both. I don't know if you knew that.
I understand. You're multi-talented, so I don't. No. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's also motorcycle day for most people, but today for here in Nashville, it's raining, so I'm not out on my motorcycle.
Yeah,
you all know I ride a motorcycle.
Yeah, it's a little cloudy today. I'd like to see you riding a motorcycle because I think you.
No, I wouldn't be riding it very long. I'd be off in the ditch somewhere. I'm sure.
You would not. You could ride on the back with Jen. Because
there you go. That's probably smarter.
And you tell her I said that.
I will. I definitely will. She'll enjoy that.
I know she will. We are in a proximity. We'll get into all the condo stuff and talk to you about that later. But where our condo is, since we haven't moved from it yet, is right across the street from the county fairgrounds.
Oh no.
But see, this is we've been here a year and a half, and we've never had. Just minor events. They'll occasionally, and they have stuff all throughout the year, but with COVID, they had nothing.
Sure.
So this last 8 months or so, they've had, they have horse shows and a goat show and sheep. And,
I bet you're all over that one.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we try to be.
Is your Uncle Billy over there?
It always gets his goat when I show up unannounced. So anyway, we're across the street from it, and they had something earlier this year, a car show, and it's people bring their hot rods and stuff like that, but more to it, they sell car parts and people come from all over the Midwest, and the people on my street, and I mean we are directly across from the entrance, so kitty corner at a very short angle. People up and down the street sell parking spots in their yards.
Oh no.
So people will come and there are cars, and some people are paying $10 to $15 a spot. And so they'll rack up, deeper yards, $250, during an afternoon. And then they switch and they rotate them in and out. There's a guy who uses probably 4 acres that he has down the street from us, just out edging on the country. And he has it's an RV park that he creates. And he brings in a porta potty, he brings in a Coke machine. And
nice.
He must have had 50 RVs parked there during this car show. And I couldn't.
That's ingenious.
It actually is, if you think about it. We go, parking cars in the yard. Oh, yeah, I really need the $80, Well, this guy's probably racking in $5,000 during the weekend, and he's not just parking RVs. Anyway, it's kind of a fun thing. The fair is on this weekend, so it started Wednesday, and today's the last day. We were happily out of town for a couple of days because it gets to be a little. My cameras on the front of the house, I'm catching people with beer bottles, throwing them in our trash bin. At least they're not littering.
That's true. That's true.
They walk right up to our trash bins right by the garage and throw their crap in there. And the band at the beer tent, which is 100 yards away,
Oh, well, see, that's why you really bought, is because the beer tent's so
The
close.
beer tent's very close, but by being neighbors, it's not like we get free beer.
You should.
So
You need to talk to the owner.
I think so. I will do that. If we weren't moving, I would absolutely do that. But anyway, it's kind of fun. But you trying to go to bed at night, it's like, and I try to guess what the song is. Ooh, that sounds like Sharp Dressed Man, just from the kick drum beat, and that will keep you up until shortly after midnight.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, it's one weekend a year. Who cares? It's no big deal. The rest of the time, they're just they're nice. We walk the dog over there, and nice people that manage it, and
that's good.
But yeah, that's my Jefferson County Fair story. But they got the big Ferris wheel and rides and probably corn dogs, and I have not been over there, but I can see it all from my driveway.
Well, if you can see it, why partake, right?
Yeah, and I can hear it.
Yeah, exactly. You're not missing out on anything.
Not really, other than corn dogs, and Lord knows I would just
don't really miss out on those. No, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, but that's going on here. You had kind of a fun travel experience last week.
I did. It was lovely. It was lovely. Well, first of all, John and I were talking about this earlier, folks, and I'm kind of right now, because travel is still, yes, the country's opening up. The world's opening up, as we mentioned earlier on in the podcast, but people are still not necessarily flying all that much. So I have a status on a single airline that shall remain nameless. I have status because of my hotel points and things like that. And I am a points whore, very much a points whore. I will do anything I possibly can to get more points.
Let's just walk that back a second. Okay.
No, I pretty much do anything I can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that explains why you're so popular at the men's club.
Exactly. And women's club too.
I'll do anything for an upgrade.
That's right. Anyway, speaking of, so I try to fly this one single airline because I have points and I have status. It ties into my hotel. I don't know. I don't want to. Okay. Maybe later. I'll probably let it slip in 5 minutes anyways. So I'm just protecting the innocent right now.
Right.
So I picked this airline. I have not had any trouble. I've only done, since I've been back traveling on airplanes, only done 8 flights. So 4 round trips to a few to Houston. And this most recent one was to Denver. Denver was crazy. That airport was packed, and they're doing a lot of construction. So for example, I went to the North Gate. I also have pre-check. So I went to the North security checkpoint, and pre-check was closed, but South was open. So I had to walk south, which normally in the Denver airport isn't a problem. You just walk from one end to the other. Well, they've got all this construction in the middle, so you've got to walk around to get to the north side. Yep. You were just there a few weeks ago. Excuse me. So I did that. I got to, this is returning home. So I flew out on a Tuesday and I was coming back on a Wednesday. My flight left at 6. We were supposed to literally leave at 6. My flight boarded at 5:30. I was there at about 2:30. Got through security about 3:30. I was early. And I wasn't just going to bum around, because it was the first time I'd ever actually rented a car from the Denver airport. So I wanted to make sure I got everything set up, and I was able to make it there on time, which wasn't an issue whatsoever. So I get through security, we sit down, everything's going smooth. I have a couple of meetings, and we get to I did sit at the wrong gate, because that was what it said on my original ticket, which that there's a reason I'm bringing that up. It said, gate B49 on my digital ticket, because I don't get the printed tickets anymore. I use my phone.
Right.
Sitting there. It's getting close to boarding time, and I look up at gate 49, and it's got a different city up there. I'm like, what the heck? So I opened the app, the airline app, and it said, now you're at B59. I'm like, okay, that's just right across the hall. Not a big deal. I walk down to 59. I got bumped up to first class, so I'm walking on the airplane in the first group. Get in my seat, get comfortable. No one's sitting next to me. Actually, the flight attendant ended up sitting next to me because she was training, and it just happened to be an open seat, so she just sat there. So it was nice to, you know, make fun of flight attendants while she was sitting next to me. And so we get on the airplane, everything's going fine. We get on the taxiway and we're taxiing out to one of the far out runways. So it takes probably a good 10 minutes to taxi out to that runway. We get out there and it was busy. I mean, there was a traffic jam, and that's what one of the things I was joking about with the flight attendant is because you could see people by the gate and the planes were going like this. I mean, it was very slow to get out there. And then we sit. And I'm in the window seat, which is very rare for me anyways, because I always do aisle seats, but that's where I got bumped up. So I'm watching, and here goes a plane down the runway, takes off. I'm like, okay. And I can see out because I'm up front in the airplane. I can see we're at the hold line. So we should be the next airplane that goes. But then another airplane takes off. And I'm like, okay, that's odd. Another airplane takes off. I'm like, okay, there is no way there are that many airplanes in front of us. We're at the hold line. So I snuck a peek through my neighbor's window on the other side of the airplane, and I noticed there's another taxiway off to our left, and they're just going around us. I'm like, okay, that's strange. And we sat there for 20 minutes, and then the captain finally comes on and said, sorry, folks, we're having an issue with our antenna. The tower can't hear us.
Can I just try and bring some realism to this? Because
sure,
there's no way that's how he spoke. The captain gets on the PA and
ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. You may have noticed we've been sitting here for probably 10-15 minutes, and the reason is, well, we seem to have misplaced the antenna, and the tower is not able to hear us. So, as you may have guessed, as soon as we are able to connect with them and get clearance, we'll be taking off. But in the meanwhile, we'll keep you posted. Thank you, and appreciate you flying.
Yep.
Airlines.
Yep.
How's that?
That's pretty much, yeah, except it wasn't, we lost the antenna. It was just something's wrong with it.
We didn't know.
So we're going to try, we're on the phone with maintenance trying to see if we can solve the problem.
Okay.
So we sat out there for about 45 minutes to an hour. Sorry, folks. We're going to have to return to the gate and have maintenance physically look at everything, and we'll get you back on the, well, it shouldn't take too long, but we'll get you back on schedule here very soon. Get back to the gate. All right, folks, maintenance is going to come on and have a look and see what they can do.
The good news is that it's a hub for that airline.
Right. So they have maintenance right there.
That's right. Yeah, that you don't have to use somebody else's and negotiate. It's a hub. Right. They have all their people there. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
So they're working on it. There's a maintenance guy that's sitting in the cockpit, so we can't even use the bathroom up front because, you know, they've got all the captain standing and stuff like that. So they work on it for another hour, and then they finally say, sorry, folks, the maintenance people are going to have to get to a panel that's in the back of the airplane that's in the cabin. So we're going to have to deplane and have you guys sit in the gate area. It shouldn't take more than 20 minutes. Once they get in there, they'll probably just check it, see if it's working, or just replace it real quick.
And listeners, viewers, if you do not fly often, you might not know that deplane means get off deplane. That's
get everything you have
off
and get off the airplane.
Deplane. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we're sitting up in the gate, and they keep updating the time on our app every 20 minutes, later and later and later and later. And again, we were supposed to leave at 6, and it's now like 9.
And you've been there since?
I've been there since 2:30.
Now, here's the thing. Entire time.
I'm wearing the mask the entire time. I'm wearing my, and I have it up here? Yeah, I've got my.
I'll see if I have mine while you're looking for yours.
My Minnesota North Stars mask. So I'm wearing my Minnesota North Stars mask the whole time. It's a nice one. It is.
It is. Let me show you mine real quick. I don't know if I can.
Is it your PoddiMouths mask? Oh, he just took his headphones off when I said that. Nice. Yeah. I love it, Mr. Bean. Anyway, so
I like to wear that mask. It seems to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That I'm not really wearing a mask.
Yeah, Mr. Bean all the way. You remind me of Mr. Bean.
Hey.
Anyway, so we're sitting there, and I'm getting bored, so I'm playing with my phone. And I notice the app still has my ticket on it, the new one from being upgraded and all this stuff, but because you can save your tickets in your wallet to make it easier to scan on the airplane, right?
Mhm.
Excuse me. So I'm just playing, and my ticket in my wallet is still wrong. It's still showing my old seat, still showing the old time, everything. I'm like, that's weird. So I just go into the wallet like I always do when I'm done with the flight, and I'm deleting the tickets because obviously it's not connected. It's supposed to be connected, but it's not. I delete the ticket. I go back in the app, my ticket's gone. So I can't, and see, I just said the airline. Do you see how I slipped right there? Anyone that caught that? No one caught that.
No one noticed. Yeah. I've known
anyway
all the way that you were talking about. So that's probably why I didn't notice. Everyone else is going, oh, it was you.
Right. So anyway, I'm in the app, and I've lost my ticket, so I can't get back on the airplane. So I went up and I got a new paper ticket, and that wasn't a big deal, but it gets better. So then we finally, after sitting there for another hour or so, they're like, folks, sorry, we're going to have to switch planes because this is taking longer than we thought we were. There's an identical plane at the other gate, at gate B40. I think I was at gate B48 at that point, and we were going to B49. No, went to B38 and then over to B39 after that. So it was just right across to the other side of the hallway. We get over there and we sit. And they said, we're going to board in just a few minutes. And we sit. And we sit. And the flight crew never came off the other airplane. And that's what they said we were waiting for. We were waiting for all of our bags had been moved from. Yes, they timed out. They moved all of our bags from one airplane to the other. And then finally the flight crew comes sauntering over, okay. So, here's the thing. This is the lesson I want everyone to take. I don't care. I don't have anywhere to be other than being in my own bed, which would have been very, very nice. I'm going to make it home for work. My work is flexible. I'm not a rocket science. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a brain surgeon. No one is depending on me for life and death. If something happens and I can't make it to work on time, oh, well, I call my boss. I say, I'm not going to make it to work on time. I have a very hard time believing that there are any bosses out there that would shame someone for having a late flight. That said,
I'm sure there are, but
I'm sure there are, but not,
happily.
They're not great bosses, right?
Yeah. Right.
There are people on this plane from the very get-go when they said, oh, we're going to be delayed, that were swearing and yelling and upset. And I'm like, it's not their fault. Something's broken on the airplane. I'd much rather them be able to talk to the tower when we're taking off and landing. Because I don't want to die, but you're going to complain. And then it just kept getting worse and worse, and everyone's complaining. Like, it happens, guys. It's not anything that they can do. It's not, it's technical. They're not doing it on purpose. They're going to take care of us.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. That frustrates me more than anything, is the people that are getting upset for things that we don't have control over.
I would agree. Let me just caveat that for a moment, though, because the thing that really makes me angry is either a lack of or poor communication. That's what I don't like.
Yeah. I didn't feel like they were giving poor communication. They're keeping us informed.
Sure, I understand. And that's the biggest thing is when they leave you without saying anything. That really irks me at some point. But I'm not going to, F-bomb this and damn this. And I'm just not going to do that, because you and I fly enough. I mean, you're flying more now recently, but you and I fly enough to know you're right. There's nothing we can do. How does that make anything better?
Exactly. How does that make yourself feel better? How does it make anyone else feel better?
It does not help you with the solution at all.
Not at all.
No. I'm with you. We are in total agreement with that. But I know I've been on many flights where they just have not said anything, and suddenly they say, well, it looks like it's going to be another couple hours, or they just update the board without telling you why or what's going on or who's, and that I have a problem with, because it seems like all they need to do is just let us know. Let us know what's going on so we can make plans.
I was really impressed by how often they tried to communicate with us. I mean, they came on announce the PA every 20 minutes and said, and even if you say, I don't know yet, That's
Sure.
what they did. We don't have an answer yet. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. This is what we're doing. Hey, we've put snacks out for you.
Mm.
You know, they were doing a good job. And here's the other thing. We have an app. The app is telling us every 20 minutes, it's sending me alert. You're going to be delayed longer. They're still working on it. You know, there's, do I need the details? Would I like the details? Sure. Because I'm a problem solver. I like details.
Yeah.
Do I need them? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just hypothetically ask you this. If you and this doesn't happen very often to you. So you have, to your credit, you have a very calm demeanor about it. And that's good. If, however, hypothetically, if you had flown that airline or any airline 10 times and on 8 of those flights, you had delays or cancellations, would that change?
That would worry me. No, it wouldn't make me angry. I would probably change airlines at that point. Change the one, even with my status. But it wouldn't. No, because you know what? It really just depends on why they're delayed. If we're delayed for weather, it's nothing they can do about it.
Different thing.
If it's mechanical every time, guys, what's wrong with your fleet? That would make me very nervous for other reasons, not because of customer service. So
yeah, flying enough. I just have to say that, and because the reason I asked that is it happened. I mean, actually, the number was more like out of 20 flights, 15 of them had a delay or were canceled. And that is why I left a certain airline. In fact, that is why I moved from Chicago with my family to Detroit, because I was trying to get to Detroit. And this is a 45-minute, 50-minute flight. And it was so much easier than driving and going back and forth. And,
right.
But of my final 20 flights, 15 of them on a particular airline were either delayed or canceled.
Yeah.
And my expectation was, look, I know they're not doing it on purpose. I get that. Sometimes it was weather. Most of the time it was mechanical. So here's the idea.
That just makes me nervous because why is your fleet falling apart?
None of it was, you know, hugely problematic, other than the fact that they had to fix it before we could go. My trouble then became, where's your plan B?
Yeah.
If this happens 75% of the time,
You're
which
right.
it has to me on these last 20 flights, then I would have a plan B, like another plane, if you find that the fleet is having trouble, or something that shows that you're looking out for that.
Well, and so you're absolutely, you're 100% right. And something I've noticed about this particular airline, which I'm not going to, just in case someone just joined us, you know, and they haven't heard, they have ordered they have made a big order from Boeing for all new airplanes.
For new planes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're obviously, if mechanical is the big issue, they're obviously addressing it and they're spending the money to fix it. So, you know, that wins a few points with me. It really does, because they're trying to solve the problem.
I agree, but I don't think the problem is, we've talked about ice pilots. Look at their planes.
Yeah. The 70 years old.
Yeah. The problem, I mean, just by virtue of being that old and technology, you know, being that old, on those planes, that's problematic in itself. But they managed to take off a pretty good amount of time. Well, and so to me, it's more of a maintenance thing than it is I need new equipment thing.
Well, let's take a step back then too, because some of that maintenance, as you had said, was not problematic. So what they run into, it's not their choice to. They could probably go, hey, we could take off without this anyways. It's okay. We have a backup. No, it's regulations. It's government that's saying, no, you can't do it until it's fixed. So again,
you know what? And it's tough to argue with the fact that we have such a safe fleet.
Absolutely.
Throughout
absolutely.
The industry. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah. But for time, because we're quickly running out of time. Let me finish my story, because it's not done yet, folks. It's not done yet. Oh wait, there's so much more.
Yeah, I know.
So as John mentioned, we're sitting there, and the pilots and the flight attendants, they finally come over and they sit next to us. They're sitting in the group. They're not getting on the airplane. They're sitting next to us. The pilot's on his phone.
That's cool.
And we've already been told that there's a legality issue with the pilot, because they announced that in one of the 20 minutes announcements. So
Is
he's on the phone. Like
he illegal? Is he?
He's because he's timed out.
I know. I'm just kidding. But
he isn't illegal.
Knows what is timed out.
Pilots are only allowed to fly a certain amount of time as a commercial pilot
before
they are timed out.
And this is what time of the night, roughly? When
this was roughly 10:45, 11. Because I would say it's 11 o'clock. Yeah.
8.5 hours.
Yeah. Yep. And so he's on the phone. I mean, he's not happy on the phone either. I mean, he can't get a hold of anybody, and he's been trying supposedly for the last hour to get a hold of somebody to see if he can, because it's a gray area in the legality. Like he wasn't timed out yet, but he would have been timed out on the flight home. Like he would have been in the air. He would have been an hour. Sometimes they'll let you push it.
Sure. And
obviously whoever he finally got on the phone wouldn't let him do it. So, so then they said, okay, we're going to put you up in hotels, and you'll get a text sent to your phone from the system telling you, here's your hotel voucher, 2 meal vouchers, and your transportation. And I'm listening to everyone. They're getting theirs, and their phones are dinging. And I'm like, I'm still not getting mine. Still not getting mine. This is not fun. Excuse me. Sorry. It's the beer, the beverage.
Yeah, I know. Have you ever noticed why radio people don't drink beer on air?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
We're not professionals. So I am still not getting it, but I'm hearing all these people talk about, let's just say, subpar accommodations. They're fine with it. They're absolutely fine with it.
Well, it's 11:30
I'm sure the hotels,
at night or whatever.
It's 11:30 at night. They just want some sleep, but I'm listening, me being a little bitch, and I'm listening to this.
What?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
I am not staying at that fucking hotel. I'm now pulling up my Marriott app going, what hotel can I stay at that's close? Nope, that one's $500 a night. Nope, that one's $500 a night. Shit. And the rental car place is already closed because it's, like John said, it's 11:30 at night. So I'm still not getting anything. I'm thinking, you know what? First of all, I'm with the company. So the company is going to let me get my hotel room if I need to. But if I want to stay at one of these nice hotels, I don't care if I'm going to use points. I'm just going to do it, right? Because I want to be close to the hotel. They have a Westin hotel that's connected to the to the airport, which I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to go to the Westin and use points. Yeah. I got plenty of them.
More than once. Yep.
So I go to the desk just because I need to, just to make sure everything, because I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get on the flight that's the following morning.
Yep.
I forgot to mention that they're pushing us back. Obviously, if I'm talking about a hotel, they're pushing us back to the following morning at 7:45. Which means if it's at 7:45, I got to get to the airport by 6:45, which means I have to leave whatever hotel I'm at the crack of dawn, depending on transportation, right? Yeah. So I go to the desk. I finally get up there, and the guy, I handed my ticket, explained to him what's going on, because there's a bunch of people that are delayed and stuff. And he looks at my ticket and said, "Oh, come down here, sir." I'm like, okay. So I walk down to the other end of the counter where it's empty space. It's the first class section of the counter. And he said, "Give me 1 second." He walks into his office, does a few things, comes back out and said, "Here's your voucher for the 5-star hotel down the road. It's the Gaylord Rocky Mountain, whatever it's called. They're all ready for you here." Yeah, Rocky Mountain Oyster. "Here are your 2 meal vouchers, and then give me your Lyft app, your phone number for your Lyft app, and I'm going to give you a credit so you can get there and back on the Lyft." And I'm mentioning Lyft by name, ding, for a reason. So,
but it's a partial ding because I know what you're going to say.
Right. Okay. So, Gaylord now is a Marriott property. So I'm happy. Correct. I'm like, I give them my points. I don't have to use points, but I can give them my number and they'll give me points. It's a fantastic situation and it's a nice hotel.
Yep.
So I'm happy.
And you'll be there for 3 hours.
I'll be there for 3 hours by the time I get there.
Right.
So I go out to the Lyft station, and on my way out there, I'm ordering the car. Right. And I can see the cars on the map driving around, and I've ordered it, and it said, okay, 5 to 6 minutes, it'll be there. Fine. And it keeps rotating through. It keeps processing, going, cars, still trying to locate car, still trying to locate car, still trying to locate car. 15 minutes later, it finally comes up. "There's an error. We weren't able to find your car. Try again later." Now, it's 10 till midnight. I'm not happy. I'm ready to, I'm not happy. I'm not unhappy, but I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. Right. So I just said, screw this. I'm paying for it. I flip over to Uber, hit the button, boom, 60 seconds. I have an Uber in front of me.
Nice.
Yeah. Great Uber driver too. Very nice guy.
There you go. Uber.
Way to go, Uber. And if you don't know this, your Uber connects to your Marriott points. People.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So does your Uber Eats. So every time you order Uber Eats, you get points.
Nice.
So I get to the hotel, get checked in. You know, it's a huge hotel. He said the restaurant's closing in 7 minutes. If you want something, I'm like, no. Head up to the room, crash. I took a shower because I feel just gross. Take a shower, climb into bed, sleep for 3 hours, get up, get dressed, head to the airport, get on, walk on the airplane. Their flight's delayed about 10 minutes. But we caught up in the air, so that was okay. You want to know why? You want to know why though? It was delayed. They couldn't find the flight attendants.
They couldn't find them.
They had no idea where the flight attendants were. The pilot and the co-pilot were already on the airplane. Flight attendants couldn't be found. So they were. I don't know where they came from because I didn't see them come in. No, they weren't drinking. They were very nice when they got there, but it wasn't the same flight crew. But it was. They finally got on and we took off, and it was a great flight and got home. And
how long was the flight?
About 2 hours.
Okay, so not crazy,
not horrible. No, not bad at all. So that was, and then I got home and I had to race to get Peyton because she wasn't planning on being at the studio. So I got Peyton, brought her home, but then Jen had to be back at the studio by 6:15. No, 5:15. No, that was right. Oh, I'm sorry. She had to be back at the studio by 5:30. So I worked up until 5, drove to the farmer's market, and then worked the farmer's market from 5 until 7. So I was blitzed by the time I got home. I'm like, peace out. I'm going to bed.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was my Wednesday and Thursday adventure.
That is not an adventure. You call it what you will, sir. But oh my goodness. Yeah. That's
yeah.
So I think this really deserves a part 2 because we traveled over the weekend as well. And I have, at the end of the week, I should say.
Okay. Let's do this.
Talk about that in the next one.
This is the end of episode number 1. So folks, that's the end.
This is
go to PoddiMouths.com.
episode.
No, this is our first episode.
Yeah, but
then it's the second episode coming
ever.
Up next. For not the first one ever. This is the first episode of this series.
This is like how many though for us? Episodes about 100.
It's about 120 something, 130.
If we strung them all together, would it be like Downton Abbey?
I think it's much better. It's more war.
I love Downton Abbey.
I know, but we're better.
If we had English accents.
If we had English accents and we had Dame Maggie Smith.
I like her.
I love her. She's great. She's in her 90s, you know.
I don't care.
Her son is a famous actor too.
Is he?
Yeah. If you've ever seen the TV show Black Sails, he's the main character on Black Sails. Look it up. I think it's on HBO or Showtime. I don't remember.
Yeah, don't start me. You've recommended so many shows that we're constantly trying to watch. Yeah. It's just
so we've started another one.
I'll beat you up. We're saving that for the next series. But I will say I got to give a big shout out to Clarkson's Farm because that was exceptional. And
it was, wasn't it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I knew I'd love it because of my exposure for years to the Grand Tour and
Top Gear.
What's the other one? Top Gear. Oh my gosh. But so I'm delighted with him, but she just finally started to get it after they just did one season and now there's talk of another one, but that's all it is. So
far. They'll have another one. That was too good not to.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I just want to find a Lamborghini tractor.
Right? I do too. Awesome. I did. So I was watching today on YouTube, go figure. There was a guy, I just stumbled on it because they were talking about land, and I'm always looking for land. So This is the Bluegrass Team. So go to bluegrassteam.com.
Okay.
And they have a bunch of different land, but there's some land in Kentucky. It's 62 acres with it's for 350,000. It has 2 barns, 2 ponds, and a house on 62 acres, and it's gorgeous. The house is kind of ugly, but the land is just absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, I was watching the video of him because this is the guy that goes and takes the pictures, but he videos while he's doing it. So you get some, and it was really really neat. And yeah, it made me really want it because the one of the fields is big enough to land an airplane in.
There you go. One of the problems is though, you have to live in Kentucky. All right.
It's pretty.
It's pretty. Kidding. Kentucky is beautiful and I love it there. But it's sort of, at least the areas I like the most are backwoods.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And this one's beautiful. Pretty. Yeah, they are.
You'd want air travel at your.
Oh, absolutely.
You would want to have that. Okay, let's move on. We will come back and we will talk about in our next clip episode, whatever we're going to call it. We'll talk about more travel delight,
more travel, more land, more all that stuff, folks. We'll see you. We'll see you next week. If you have any questions, go to PoddiMouths.com and I don't care, whatever.
You just did like a brain fart. Oh,
I did. It was a total brain fart. Hold on. Let me get some go-go juice.
Can I tell you that our antenna is down, and so the tower can't hear us now? So unfortunately, Nick's antenna just went down, and
my antenna.
If you have any questions, and that's
seriously, head up to PoddiMouths.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, all that good fun stuff. We're on YouTube as well if you'd rather watch us. But you can find us on all of your podcasts.
We're smiling if you'd
out there. We are smiling. Woo! Woo doggy. Anyway, we'll see you next week with the continuation of this fantastic travel episode. See ya.